Hello, this is Edwin Dearborn, another growth edition of Growth Driven. And today we're going to talk about maybe some unforeseen factors of how you can grow your brand equity, how you can enhance your brand equity in terms of, well, factors you may not have considered. Hey, this is Edwin Dearborn, another edition of Growth Driven. And I was out in Southern California for 3 days helping my mother and my family move. I'm totally exhausted, but there was a topic I wanted to cover today about brand equity. You know, it's one of those terms that maybe for a small business owner or for an entrepreneur, solopreneur, it's a bit of a esoteric topic. Why would I need to build brand equity? What the hell is that? So brand equity is, what is your brand worth financially outside of the actual assets that it owns? So you could sell Mustangs, the car by Ford. The car has a certain amount of value, but the brand, if they wanted to sell it, to be able to own that epic brand called the Mustang by Ford, you'd be buying more than just the assembly line, the technology, and the patents. You'd be buying the equity that it is built in terms of fame, recognition, popularity. That would be added to the price. So it's not a tangible asset like the Mustang or the assembly line, but because the Mustang car is so famous, it has an additional value. So how do you build brand equity as a small business person? And there's three things where you can enhance your brand equity. Now, the first obvious is wealth. Now, sometimes, yes, you could point to that as an asset, but not all wealth is created like all other wealth. Like you can have the money in the bank, or you can have money in the bank in particular accounts that are earning you more money. So I define this aspect of wealth as not just having money, but having money in smart places, doing smart things, wealth generating wealth. You talk to any financial advisor, and he's going to tell you clearly not all investments perform like all other investments. So as you're building your brand equity, what are you doing with your money? Are you reinvesting it in technology? Are you reinvesting it in real estate, various assets, 401k programs? How are you intelligently using that? Because your wealth is, and how you manage it will be a part of your brand equity. Number two is the knowledge. What knowledge are you building as a company? The knowledge that In-N-Out has about how to make a burger, how to serve fast food is itself part of the brand equity. So any big business is going to develop a series of processes and systems and know-how. And all of that I would include under the topic of knowledge. The more skills, processes, training manuals, training systems, being able to replicate and scale your systems and knowledge is part of your brand equity. A couple of companies that I work with, we've been using a lot of software to document how we do things. How do we hire? What are our policies? How do we determine what to do with certain accounts? That knowledge becomes part of our brand equity. So if we ever wanted to sell that company, we can show them, look, not only do we have these many accounts, but we have these systems. So when you bring in your people, it's going to be very smooth acquisition. You're going to be able to scale the application of what has made this business so successful. So number two would be knowledge. Number three would be relationships. How loyal are your clients? That's part of the brand equity. How well do people know about you? What is your reputation? What relationships do you have with service providers or product providers? What is the size of your database. How many followers do you have? How engaged are your followers? This is where influencers make money. Hey, I've got 1 million followers. I talk about swimsuits. You're going to sell more swimsuits. That's part of that person's brand equity. How many relationships do they have quantitatively? And what is the quality of their relationships? This could be referring vendors, co-branding relationships. Where the rubber meets the road in most businesses is how well do they deal with people, and then how many people outside of their organization are they working with to bring brand recognition and new customers to the table. What I like to do with companies that I work with, that particularly those that have a long-term vision of growth, they don't want to just make money right now. Of course, they want to make money right now, but they also have a long-term vision, like, in 5 years or 10 years or 15 years, I want to be able to give this to my kids, or I want to be able to sell it off and go retire. I want to start preparing an exit strategy. And these are 3 aspects of building a brand and its equity that we have to take a look at. Number 1, how do we manage the wealth? Do we have great strategies financially so that we're sound? Number 2, what knowledge are we building? What systems are we doing to replicate that knowledge, the application of that knowledge? We've got to collect, if you will, our own library of know-how. And then number 3, how do we enhance the relationships in terms of not only quantitatively, but the quality of the relationships, where they would never think of going somewhere else, or they'd be very hard pressed to go with another brand. If you can actively work on those 3 things within your strategy of building your brand, you will be increasing your brand equity. This has been Eben Dearborn on another edition of Growth Driven. Thanks for joining in, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.